generally, like, our mission president didn't really like us to be out late at night, especially if we were teaching, like, males, and we always had to have a third sister there, which is in the White Handbook. But if we were on bikes, we usually had to be in a little bit earlier than most of the elders did, because in some of the scarier areas like Rose Park or West Valley or Magna, you need to be home sooner than some of the other elders, especially if you don't have a car.
For safety, I always had pepper spray with me, and I never actually had to use it or got to use it, but one of my investigators actually lived in an apartment complex that had problems with shootings, and so I gave my investigator the pepper spray, and she was really grateful. So even if you're not protecting yourself, I would say knowing about safety and knowing about how to stay away from bad situations, so that you can not only do that for yourself, but do it for other people too, because there are sister missionaries who have gotten in trouble or gotten hurt or had bad things happen to them because they didn't know what to do in those situations. So I took a jiu-jitsu class before my mission, so never got to use that either, unfortunately, but still waiting for the opportunity.
Both my mission presidents, they just loved the sisters. We were just their daughters. They wanted to protect us, and since they were both French, they really understood French culture. So that's something I know, that's the difference between our mission and the South of France mission. In our mission, sisters, we weren't allowed to teach men or to conduct men. And at first I was really confused, because I thought, well, like, let's talk to everyone. Like, why don't we just share the gospel with anyone? And if they're creepy, then we'll just say goodbye. And if they're interested, then we'll keep teaching them. But then I realized it was really for our own safety. And it became really nice because we didn't have to worry about creepy men. And if there were men that came up to us that made us feel uncomfortable, we always just kept the elder's phone number. So in a lot of my cities, we would have our pass-along cards with our phone number and our information, and also keep a couple for the elders. And if a guy said that he was interested in learning about the gospel, but it kind of gave us this weird vibe, or we just knew that we weren't going to be able to teach him, we would give him our pass-along card, but with the elder's phone number. And so if they were legit and they were really interested in the gospel, then the elders would have someone new to teach. And if not, then the elders can get rid of them for us. Also in our mission, both mission presidents and the leaders in the mission, they really just knew about good places for sisters to be. And so in Versailles, for example, there were parts of our area where sisters were not allowed ever, that if we met someone that was from there, then we would just pass them to the elders. But for me, I spent half my mission being the only set of missionaries in that whole area. There weren't any other sisters, there weren't any other elders. And so that became interesting, because I'd gone from Versailles having 6 other elders, that if we had a problem, we could just pass them to the elders, or if we were scared or in a sketchy situation, we could just turn to the elders or call the elders. But then when I left that area to being in a really small town, being the only sisters and not having the elders as an option, that kind of changed. But then that made us rely on the members a lot more, because we would have to bring the members with us if we taught a man. And then also we just knew really well which areas not to walk by, because there would be men that could follow us or try to find out where we lived, or just made things scary. But anytime that we ever had any sense of being unsafe, we knew that the mission president would change anything. And so there are a few instances that we just felt a little uncomfortable, and we would just text our mission president or the assistants or someone and let them know, hey, we just kind of got in a sketchy situation, and they would look into it or talk to the members or find out how that can be avoided. So I never really felt unsafe in my mission.
Depending on where you serve, there are some pretty dangerous areas, but the mission president is smart, and he's inspired to know where to put the sisters so they're not in danger. I would just say, don't put yourself in dumb situations, because if you do, things can happen. Just be worthy of the Spirit, because the Spirit will guide you where not to go and where to go. But if you're a pretty American girl and you're around a lot of men, the men will talk to you. They'll try to get your number. They'll try to ask you to go places. One person even asked me to marry them once. That was fun. Don't recommend that one. But yeah, just don't go along with it. Don't like get engaged. Sometimes I would get engaged in the conversation. That wasn't a good idea. Just let it go and just say, you know what, we're missionaries. Like, if you want to talk to us, we can give you the number of the boy missionaries, the elders, and you can talk to them. That's always a good excuse. And we'd actually call the elders sometimes. Like, if people were like talking to us and like we didn't feel comfortable with men talking to us, we'd be like, oh, we're calling our, not our boyfriends, but we're calling our guy friends they're going to come over here. And that usually like scared them away, or we'd make them talk to them on the phone just to show that we have other people here, and that we're protected. So use the elders as an excuse. Give out the elders' phone number instead of your phone number for men, because you're not supposed to give out your number to men. Yeah, just don't engage in conversation. Just walk away and say thank you. Like, we're missionaries and we're focused on what we're doing. You can come to church. Give them the address of the church. Just, if you don't feel good about it, just don't give out information.
Probably the person you want to listen to the most, above all else, is the Holy Ghost. There were several instances on my mission where we were out proselyting, and at nighttime there, especially those last, maybe between 7:30 and 9 or 9:30, those last couple hours we were proselyting, it is pretty dark. They don't have a lot of street lights. People don't have porch lights. You might want to bring a little flashlight to proselyte with, but there were distinct impressions that we received, my companion, that, we shouldn't go down that street tonight. And it may be a street that we've walked down like 10 other times, but on that night, at that time, we both felt that we shouldn't walk there, and we didn't, and nothing happened. And so that's what's important, that nothing happened because we avoided whatever that situation was. But then there's also importance to listen to the Spirit and who you should talk to on the street. There were also lots of times where you just feel, I should go talk to that person right there. They look like they're having a bad day, and you can go and speak to them, and they'll open up to you, and you'll realize, they do have a need for the gospel, and you'll be able to help them. So listen to the Spirit while you're out there, and you'll be okay. So.
And they always put the sisters like out in the countryside, like in the little small towns where not much happens. I don't remember. Well, I've heard one or two stories of sisters being kind of like followed home or having creepy conversations, but if that's the worst, maybe talking to a scary drunk guy on the corner of the street, but never more than that. I've never heard anybody getting like attacked or anything. So it's fairly safe.
Pay attention to the Spirit, because He will keep you safe. But also at the same time, don't be dumb. Use your common sense. If the zone leader says don't be there after 5, then don't be there after 5.
I always felt very safe in my mission, but there were some like muggings and things like that happened. We were just always kind of asked to not bring our cameras around with us, not bring a lot of money around with us, because I think it happened that someone, an elder, had gotten mugged and had like his camera and maybe 400, 500 pesos on him, and it was just like bad news. And then once the people start thinking that we have a lot of money, or we have cameras, or we have cell phones, then it would kind of happen more. So we just brought around what we needed. We had our scriptures, and that's about all. And we just tried not to carry around lots of valuable things. But other than that, I feel like my mission was very safe, especially when you think about the stereotypes of kind of South America. I know that my mom was very worried when she found out I was going to Argentina. But it's very safe there. I felt very, very safe.
Just be aware of your surroundings. Don't, if you have a camera, don't just hang it outside of your backpack. Keep it safe. Keep it simple. Keep it safe. Be aware of your surroundings. And really, in the end, God will protect you. There were times when I know that we were trying to be robbed, and there were times we were confronted by robbers and on deserted streets at night. But God took care of it. He'll protect you. He'll keep you safe as long as you are praying, you're working hard, and you're trying to be safe. He'll protect you.
Wise, just be smart. And being afraid isn't helpful, but being attentive is. So, you know, if you're afraid constantly, you're going to look really vulnerable. But if you're just attentive and you're aware of your surroundings, and you make sure that if somebody's been following you for a little while, you change direction and you don't let them see where your home is really important. And something a relative of mine told me before I went that stands true is that, like, if you feel like someone is following you, you act like a crazy person. Like, you start talking, you start twitching, you start doing things that are just erratic, because people don't mess with crazy people. Like, even criminals don't want to mess with somebody that's going to go crazy on them, you know? And so that was always a pretty good safety tip. Members will try to give you pepper spray, but pepper spray really isn't that effective, because you have to, like, get it out of a little case and stuff like that. So, I mean, if it happens, sure, but I never had a problem or needed to use pepper spray, but I never really felt like it would be effective.